Alright, what's up friends? Today we are back with another efficiency test video, and today it will be on the Cloudwheel Rovers. I'm sure you guys have seen these in a couple of my Instagram posts and other social media shares, as well as my rides if you track those. But if not, these are the Cloudwheel Rovers. They are 165 millimeters in diameter, and they are made of the classic Cloudwheel urethane / foam construction, and these ones in particular have what appears to be a injection molded fiberglass nylon type of wheel core. It's very possible that it is just nylon, but I don't know. I could ask them before the complete review. So today we're going to be riding these wheels on our standard efficiency test route at our standard speeds. And as luck would have it, it is a bit windy today again. So I guess this is just going to be a recurring theme of these efficiency tests, that it happens to be windy on the same day that I do these tests on. So we'll see if that makes a difference, but I've already done quite a few miles on these, so I have a good idea of what the efficiency should look like for these, and I'll be able to tell if it seems a little high or seems a little bit low. So what do I want to talk about for these wheels? Well, the first thing, of course, is the unique construction. Since they're cloud wheels, they are constructed with urethane and foam, like I said. But for these particular wheels, since they're so big, Cloudwheel has decided to go with a very large wheel core and then only put a thin layer of their urethane foam combo around the outside. Now, you might think, wow, that probably makes a huge difference on ride quality. And you would be completely right. These wheels do not ride like normal cloud wheels. They, well, you'll just have to stay and listen to my opinions about how they ride. But they're going to be coming off after this efficiency test. Now, normally, I wind up doing these efficiency tests right when I get the wheels. But it just so happens that I rode these wheels a lot before doing this efficiency test, and in fact the 7 miles of this efficiency test are the last 7 miles of my 100-mile standard testing regimen. So you can be confident that the opinions I give you today are well founded throughout the 100 miles of riding on these wheels. Now, that's not to say that I'm not doing a full review. I'm not going to do a full review in this video. I'm still going to do a full review video a little bit down the road as soon as I get time. But today, you'll just get some of my brief opinions. So, first thing to talk about with these wheels is the impact and vibration absorption. Now, this one is a little hard because these wheels are so gigantic, and it's a little bit more difficult to compare wheels that are this gigantic to ones that are, say, 100 millimeters. But I'll do my best to give an accurate comparison. So, for impact absorption on these wheels, it's not great. I'll just go ahead and say it. These wheels feel hard. They are hard. They don't absorb very much impact. If you want to go off-road with these, don't, because they will bounce you straight off of your board. And I know this from experience. I tried going off-road with these on some dirt and rocks, and it was literally the most bumpy experience I've ever had. I honestly think you'd be better off going off-road with 120 millimeter cloud wheels versus these. On top of that, the concept catch is so skinny that there's even less grip off-road than with normal 120 mil cloud wheels. So take from that what you will. The impact absorption is not great. The only redeeming factor in that category is that they're so large that their large size helps absorb the impact. And that might sound weird, but that's just kind of how it's been for me. So I'll be right back in a second. I'm going to switch hands with my camera because it's getting heavy, and we'll talk about the vibration absorption. Alright, so I've switched hands with my camera. We're going to talk a little bit about the vibration absorption on these Cloudwheel Rovers. Now, interestingly enough, the vibration absorption on these is actually pretty good. Now, I don't know if it has something to do with the Cloudwheel formula or how the foam reacts, but in general, the vibrations on these are pretty much gone. Like really small pebbles, things like small road disparity, you're not going to feel it that much, and it's going to be a lot better than a normal urethane wheel. Part of that, again, could be the size. I think it mostly has to do with the Cloudwheel formula, having that foam in there to take up some of that vibration that you feel from the road. Now, of course, like I just mentioned, the impact absorption, not great, so it's a meh experience overall in that category, but they're not terrible. Now, the next thing we usually talk about in these videos is the grip. So we'll get into a little bit of the discussion about that in this slightly faster part of the ride. So the grip on these wheels, it's interesting. A lot of my friends and people that I talk to on these say that they almost fell off of these wheels on their first ride because the grip was so terrible starting. And you know, this is a thing that's always been a problem with Cloudwheels. People always say that they have a break-in period and that you need to ride them for a while before they get up to their full grip. And I would have to agree, these wheels definitely have lackluster grip in general, but especially at the beginning, they feel quite slick, and I don't blame some of my friends for almost falling off. That has not been my experience. I've been able to manage it just fine, but I've also been riding for a really long time and ridden a lot of different wheels, so maybe I'm just a little more used to it. It's also worth mentioning that I don't carve as much as some people. I'm more of a straight liner. I'll still do some nice carves every once in a while, but I'm not one of those double kingpin riders that carves across the entire street every single group ride and enjoys testing wheels to the very edge of their grip. And I can imagine by the sound of these wheels and my experience riding them so far, that if you are a double kingpin rider and you want to carve super hard, I could see these slipping out, and I could definitely see you being able to slide on these if you really gave it your best shot. I don't know if I would recommend sliding on wheels this big because I think it would feel really weird, but you know, each their own, or to each their own rather. So grip on these, not the greatest in the bunch, worse than rubber, worse than some urethane, especially wide urethane, definitely worse than pneumatics, which again is rubber, but yeah, these probably have the worst grip of almost any wheel that I've tested. Their slight compliance with the ground helps them have a little more grip, but it's still not great. So yeah, we'll see in the total review what I give the grip score, but right now it's not looking super great. Alright, so the next thing I want to talk about these wheels is their rolling resistance, because I think it's something worth mentioning. Now, I think what Cloudwheel was trying to go for with these wheels was a balance between the size of pneumatic wheels and the battery consumption of smaller wheels / urethane wheels, as well as trying to get some of that same comfort level as pneumatics. And I can tell you that they definitely succeeded in the rolling resistance category, and I've been riding these for a while, so I've seen all the efficiency numbers coming through, and I have a decent idea of what today's will be. I'm fairly certain that a big part of that high efficiency number is that they have very low rolling resistance. These wheels are pretty much on par with something like the Meepo Cyclone wheels, or even close to urethane, with how easily they roll and let your board roll out. This is due to a lot of things, but part of it is definitely the fact that they're hard and they're large, so the contact area with the ground is pretty small, and pretty much that adds up to being a efficient wheel. Now, is it really worth the efficiency to sacrifice all of the comfort? Probably not in my book, but it is worth noting that you probably would get a higher amount of range with these than you would with a equally sized pneumatic tire, especially if you run it at low PSI, 30 PSI or lower for sure. So worth noting there. Yeah, I'm gonna keep riding here. If there's anything else I think of, I will get back in with you guys. But otherwise, I'll see you when we get to the efficiency number. Something that I want to mention to you guys while I'm chilling here at this light is that I'm trying to come up with a better way to measure the grip of all these different wheels in a more repeatable and empirical fashion. In other words, a number attached to it. And I've got a couple ideas for that, so definitely be on the lookout for any more polls and stuff. I'm thinking I'm going to make a single kind of test jig per wheel, or pair of wheels or something like that, and be able to apply weight to it and get some actual grip numbers out of each of these wheels. Now, of course, it's not going to be exactly equivalent to what you would see on a ride, but it'll hopefully be close and give a number that we can compare between all these wheels rather than just my opinion. So I think that'll be super cool, and I think these Cloudwheels will score really low. But yeah, I know it sounds like I'm being really negative about these wheels, and it's just because honestly I haven't super enjoyed my time with them, and obviously that's not what a company wants to hear when they send you free wheels. So thank you, Cloudwheel, for sending these out. But the truth is they just missed the mark with these. I much rather prefer regular Cloudwheels over these. I think regular Cloudwheels have more grip with their wider contact patch. They're more comfortable to ride on, and really the only benefit of these is that they're quite large and they have a decent efficiency. So I don't know, take from that what you will, but I don't think this video is going to be selling many of these wheels, unfortunately. I will say that they're a good big wheel, and if you need a big wheel for a very specific reason, these will be more efficient than pneumatics. So I guess that's your one use case. You need pneumatic size for whatever reason, but you can afford to sacrifice some comfort and you really want that slightly more efficient number. It's worth mentioning that the gear ratio on these, of course, is much different than a street wheel, so that will affect the efficiency a little bit. It'll probably make it a little bit higher than a lower pulley ratio. What I've got on here right now is 15 to 60 teeth, which ends up being about a 4.0 ratio, and that's pretty good in terms of torque. I've been able to do a burnout with these wheels, not like standing on the board, but letting off some weight, I was able to pretty easily do a burnout with them. So this board has pretty decent torque right now, but that is just how it has to be. You can't really put a 40 tooth pulley on a 165 millimeter wheel. It's just gonna be really bad for you. So I think this is still a realistic test scenario, and I think these numbers will be good enough to compare to other wheels on the market. Alright guys, so we've come to the end of our efficiency tests. It's time to check the numbers. Today, I think I rode a little bit faster than normal. I just kind of got ahead of myself, and let's see. I normally aim to have an average of 15 miles an hour on these rides. I think today ended up being a little bit closer to 20, but should not be that big of a difference. So after this ride, our watt hours per mile end up being at 20.3, which is actually quite low. That's basically the same as like urethane. And there's a couple reasons why I think this might be. One, the gear ratio is a little bit better on these gigantic wheels. So the most comparable thing will be when I compare this to pneumatic tires, because they have a similar gear ratio. I'm not going to add any penalty for that, because this is still the number that I get with these wheels and this gear ratio, but that is one contributing factor. Another is because the wheels are so hard, so it's not that surprising. And well, it was surprising the first time I rode these wheels. I was like, wow, that's really good efficiency. So comparable efficiency to urethane with the right setup, and my average speed was actually just fine on this ride. But yeah, overall, I don't know about these wheels. They make good big wheels that have high efficiency, but the comfort suffers a little bit, the grip suffers a little bit. It's worth mentioning that at this like 100-mile mark, the grip is definitely better than it was at the beginning, but it's still a very small contact patch, very skinny wheel. It just doesn't compare to a rubber wheel or pneumatic tire. So yeah, it is what it is, but I'll say more in the full review. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video on these Cloudwheel Rovers. I know I love getting to try out all kinds of different wheels, no matter how good they are, but hopefully you guys are coming here for the honest opinions, because I'm not going to talk up a wheel that isn't good. So let me know what you think down in the comments below, and stay safe, keep on riding, and peace out.